Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Krysten Hansyn and this is Goddess Imagine, a transformational yoga and modern metaphysical studio. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with a brand new tarot reading that's called the Summer Solstice, harnessing the energy of the season to help us become the highest version of ourselves and make all of our dreams come true. With all the chaos and confusion that's been going on in our country and in the world today, I thought it'd be nice to take a break from all of the transformational work that we've been doing and direct our energy inwards towards ourselves and our personal well-being. The summer solstice marks the longest day of the year, but it also represents a powerful moment of illumination, expansion, and abundance. As the sun is reaching the highest point in the sky, we're also being called to step into our own light. And the summertime isn't necessarily about big cataclysmic changes. It's about doing things with ease. It's a time to slow down and to reflect upon all of the things that we've accomplished, to celebrate our progress and allow ourselves to dream bigger than what we've ever dreamt before. It's a time to maybe pick up our old journal or maybe a spiral notebook and to go outside, to sit in a yard or to go down by the water. We can take a moment to let the sunlight rest upon our face as we look at all the beautiful flowers and trees and maybe all the little critters that are running around us, as we pause and reflect and think about ourselves and our future. And as we begin to feel inspired, we can start to write down small steps that can move us forward in all the ways that we desire. One of the biggest problems that we face as women is that we think we have to do everything all at one time, or if our dreams and goals aren't big enough, then they're not worthy of achieving. All right, nothing can be further from the truth. In fact, some of the smallest steps can lead to the biggest achievements. In today's reading, we'll discover where our energy is ready to expand, what new opportunities are awaiting our attention, and how we can tap into and utilize this gentle energy of the summer solstice to help us continue our journey of becoming the highest version of ourselves and making all of our dreams come true. Before we begin our reading, I always like to take a moment to ground myself, and I invite you to do so as well. It not only gives me a moment to activate my intuition, open up my third eye, but it also gives the listener an opportunity to figure out what it is that they want to learn from this reading. And we can do this right where we're sitting. It takes just about 60 seconds. So what I do is I just sit up nice and tall in my chair, I align my chakras, and I close my eyes down. If you're not able to do those things, if you're driving or doing something else, then you can just attune your attention to the sound of my voice. And we imagine just being able to ground, center, and focus our mind, body, and spirit. We can invite our higher power and our spiritual team to join us. We connect with our inner goddess. We embrace our divine feminine energy. And we can also set a personal intention for ourselves, something that you'd like to learn through this reading today. When we're finished, we place our hand over our heart. We can take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Beautiful. Open up our eyes and we begin. I'd like to give the cards a shuffle. And as I do, I invite you to think about, where are you shining this solstice season? Have you been taking the time to reflect on your progress this year? Are you dreaming big dreams for the future? And I know that sometimes it's hard with so many things going on around us, but we have to keep our energy focused forward. We can't afford to let anyone or anything hold us back. And if you're here today with me, then you're someone that's looking for a little insight to get you going in a forward direction. I get it. I can feel that way sometimes myself. All right, one more shuffle and we will begin. Awesome. All right, let's start. And we begin with card number 1. Card number 1 is, what light is being shined upon me? The summer solstice is a time of illumination. What truth, gift, talent, opportunity, or possibility is being revealed to you right now? This card shows what is ready to be seen clearly so you can move forward with confidence. Some questions to ask may be, what am I finally ready to acknowledge about myself? What opportunity have I been overlooking? Where am I being asked to step into greater visibility? And for card number 1, we have the King of Wands. So the wands represent action, dreams, goals, our passion, forward momentum, right? And when we have the king, then we have the highest version of ourselves, the highest attainment that we can reach, right? We're coming up through the minor arcana, we're up through the court cards, and we've reached that king level. So when it says, what light is being shined upon me, okay? What truth, talent, or opportunity is that we already have all of this within us, right? When a king becomes a king, they've already accomplished many things, right? They've had battles, they've had wars, they've overcome blocks and obstacles, and so have we. If you're in and around anywhere the Generation X realm, you have already waged and won many wars. And we already have that strength and determination within us. It's just sometimes that we get so overwhelmed from trauma and drama, it's difficult to find that energy to begin again, right? But on some level, we're not beginning all over again. We're just starting in a new and different direction of our life. So we want to connect to the energy of the solstice. We want to connect to the energy of our experience. We want to tap into that king mentality to move ourselves forward, right? Because kings don't get dissuaded by small things. Kings are powerful. They're able to overcome. So we want to borrow that energy, realize that we already have that magic and momentum in us. And now that it's time to bring that energy forward. When they say it's time to shine, this is literally your time to shine with all of your gifts and graces, okay? It's like you're being cued and being called out, that it's your time to step up and to move forward in all the ways that you want to. Next, we have card number 2. What is ready to grow? Everything in nature is actively growing during this season. This card reveals the area of your life that has the greatest potential for expansion over the upcoming months. This may relate to your career, your finances, your health, or something else. Some questions to ask are, what part of my life feels ready for the next level? What dreams am I being encouraged to nurture? What would happen if I gave this area more attention and energy? So for card number 2, what is ready to grow? The 6 of Wands. All right. So the 6 of Wands, again, action, dreams, goals. It's very fitting for our reading. When we have the 6 here, we have someone that it looks like he's holding something up on a stick, and all the people are below, and they're looking up at him, and there's some level of admiration, okay? They're looking at him. He's being acknowledged for something, okay? So where is it ready to grow? Maybe giving yourself some credit. Maybe you have been doing something all along and no one has noticed what you're doing, right? And like I said earlier, we have to be able to take time for ourselves. And I always say, because nothing or no one is going to give it to us, sometimes we have to give ourselves our own acknowledgement. We have to recognize our successes. We have to honor ourselves for all the things that we've accomplished. I've discovered through life that not too many people pay attention to the positive that we do, but the minute that we F up something, they're all over it, right? So the 6 is calling you to do an internal acknowledgement. What is ready to grow? Your pride within yourself. Being proud of yourself, right? Encouraging yourself, acknowledging that you've worked hard, you've done many things, you've come a long way. And while it may not look it on the outside, on the inside, you have a lot to show for what you've accomplished in your life, and that it's okay to acknowledge yourself for that. It's okay. You know, we're not giving ourselves a pat on the back. And when we grew up, the one thing that we were taught in Generation X is not to brag or not to talk about ourselves. You know, we could do the biggest thing and no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. You know, we never took, attention for anything because it was just frowned upon. And we can do that without bloating, right? Without gloating and without, acting proud and overbearing. It's okay to acknowledge the things that you've done. It's okay to be proud. And when we tap into that energy, that internal acknowledgement, the universe delivers more, okay? That's what sets us up to begin to grow, all right? When the question is, what part of my life feels ready for the next level? I'd like to continue to succeed. What dreams am I being encouraged to nurture, right? What is important to you? What feels good to you? What are you giving yourself recognition for? And we do that, and then that sets the universe on that continued course that you want more of that positive thing in your life. Card number 3, what is limiting my expansion? Growth often requires releasing old beliefs, habits, fears, or patterns that keep us small. This card highlights what may be preventing you from fully stepping into your next chapter. Remember, awareness creates freedom. Some questions to ask are, what am I afraid might happen if I succeed? What old story am I still carrying? What belief no longer aligns with the woman that I am becoming? For card number 3, we have the Queen of Swords. This is my tarot card. This is so funny. So the swords represent, and I see the swords as being able to cut through the bullshit, being able to slice through all of the BS, right? We're going for clarity. We're going for the truth of the matter. And the swords represent our intelligence, intellect, intuition, communication, clarity, getting to the truth of the matter, all right? And when we see a queen, again, she's at a raised up level of herself. She's already done a lot of the work, okay? So when we look at what is limiting my expansion, maybe you haven't been speaking your truth. Maybe you haven't been honest with yourself or others. Maybe you're holding back on certain aspects of yourself. Maybe there's a little bit of timidness, okay? When we say, what am I afraid might happen if I succeed? Maybe you're actually successful. Maybe there's a hidden fear that how you'll keep up this momentum. Will you be able to perform? Can you keep this flow going? What happens if something goes wrong? It happens to everybody, right? But if we prepare ourselves, if we do things with ease and with grace, if we write down our goals and we take small steps and we prepare ourselves, then everything will fall into play. And sometimes we have to get a little tough with ourselves. We have to get a little tough with other people. We have to speak our truth, and we don't have to be, mean about it or bold about it, but being honest with grace is very powerful when we're trying to up-level and transform, when we're becoming the highest version of ourselves and making all of our dreams come true, right? Sometimes it can require bold honesty. So those may be some of the things that are holding back in your expansion. Card number 4, where should I direct my energy? The solstice reminds us that our energy is precious. This card reveals where our focus, effort, and attention will create the greatest results this season. Instead of trying to do everything, where should you concentrate your energy? Some questions to ask. What deserves my attention right now? What actions would create the greatest momentum? Where am I being guided to invest my time and my resources? For card number 4, we have the Two of Wands. Whenever we have a 2, to me the 2 can represent indecision, all right? And usually that indecision is in the mind because we are still in the minor arcana. We have the wands, which represent, again, our growth, our passion, our dreams and our goals, our ambitions. But we have a 2. We're just at the starting gate. We're just beginning to take off in this journey. And when we see this man here, he has his hand on a wand and he's got, he's going forward. He's got the globe in his other hand and he's looking up into the sunset. Perhaps he's daydreaming or he's imagining what he wants to do with his future, but he's not going anywhere. He's got a wand kind of stationed behind him. He's hanging on to something and he's not taking any type of movement forward. All of his dreams and goals are in his head. He hasn't started yet on the journey. So the question is, where should I direct my energy? It's taking those first initial steps, understanding what is it going to take for you to get started, and then stepping up of that starting line. We already know that you have it within you. We already know that you've overcome amazing things in your life. You're standing here today. That's all within you. It's just, Amanda, sometimes doing something new is what can be scary. And we have to be willing to get our foot off of that starting line and step into the game before we can technically be in the game. And that indecision, again, is in our mind. We have to just clear our mind, focus our energy inward. Where does my attention need to be right now? How do I move forward? What is it going to take me to get my foot off of the starting line and into action? Card number 5, how can I accelerate my growth? This card reveals the mindset, action, habit, or opportunity that can help you to move forward more effectively. Sometimes growth requires courage. Sometimes it requires patience. Sometimes it requires consistency. This card will show you what that next step can look like. Some questions to consider. What action have I been avoiding? What support would help me to move forward? What daily practice would strengthen my progress? For card number 5, we have the Queen of Wands. Okay, we got the King, we got the Queen, we've got a full house here with the Wands. There's somebody listening who really needs to take action to move forward. So, the Queen of Wands is a very precarious individual. She is one who is very refined, very graceful, very elegant for being a queen, but she's also very creative. She's very intelligent, and she uses her imagination. She may go things around the way. She may not be the status quo as other queens are. She's a little bit more laid back. She's a little bit more personable, and she's just a little bit lighter in her energy. She's still very strong, very, very articulate individual, but she goes about things a little bit differently, okay? So when it says, how can I accelerate my growth? Maybe taking an imaginative approach to this, stepping outside of the box, still tapping into your gifts and graces, utilizing all of the power that you have within you, but maybe being a little bit more creative or going around things a little bit differently than what other people do around you. Not everything that we do has a set status quo. We have a dream, we have a goal, and then we have our particular pathway forward. My pathway, your pathway, and the person sitting next to me are all different. Each of us have to find our individual way of doing things. We have what it takes. We just have to find what works. And sometimes this requires stepping out of the box, trying things differently, doing things differently than how others may see around you, right? But still keeping that upper level that we're a queen and we're doing it with confidence. When we talk about sometimes growth requires courage, it requires patience, it requires consistency. Sometimes it requires creativity, coming about it out of the box, doing things just a little bit differently and finding out what that is for you. Next, we have card number 6. What potential outcome awaits me if I follow this guidance? This final card offers a glimpse into the energy that you're moving toward. Rather than predicting a fixed future, which we can't, this card reveals the possibilities available when you consciously align with the lessons and opportunities presented throughout this reading. Some questions to consider. What excites me most about this possibility? What would achieving this outcome How would achieving this outcome change my life? What commitment am I willing to make to support this vision? For card number 6, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Excellent. So, the Wheel of Fortune very much is about chance, all right? And we have the 4 heads of the Aquarian signs represented here. We have the clouds, we have the blue sky, we have a whole bunch of things going on with this card. We even have this little creature on the end here who sometimes can draw us into taking that extra spin. Let me break this down. The Wheel of Fortune very much is about taking a chance, but it's more about a calculated risk. It's not about just throwing our money on the table and seeing what happens. It's about getting our ducks in a row, making sure we understand. We've learned what we have to learn. We know what we're doing. We have a clear direction, and then taking that jump in with 2 feet. There's no way in the world that we can, reach the level of success that we desire if we have 1 foot in the water and 1 on the ground. We have to be willing to jump into something with both feet, but we want to do it from a calculated perspective. We don't want to leave things to chance, because that's when we can get into trouble. And what can excite us most about that possibility is that we're doing it with a knowing heart. We're not risking all this money. We're not risking our home. We're not risking our future. We're not taking out these, giant loans. Remember, the summer solstice is not about cataclysmic change, making these huge changes. It's about making small, consistent steps to move us forward in all the ways that we desire. It's about doing things from a very, loving, centered, graceful, ease point of view. When we see the Wheel of Fortune, right? For some people, they like the danger, they like the risk. In this reading, it's about making sure we have everything in order, and then once we do, we jump in with both feet. We want to be fully committed for the jump, because when we're hanging on to something of the past, when we're hanging on to something that we have an out, or, if this doesn't work, I can do this, then we don't have the full vision to succeed. If we're coming from a safe perspective and we have our ducks in a row and we take that jump, it's absolutely exhilarating. When I built Goddess Imagine, it was much different than when I built other businesses, because I had more knowledge, more understanding, and it was a different type of skill set. When we look back at our cards, number 1, what light is being shined upon me is that the universe is telling you, you have everything within you to succeed. You just need to do it. There's nothing else that you have to obtain or acquire. You've already overcome all the blocks and obstacles. You have the strength and tenacity to succeed. When we come to card number 2, what is ready to grow? Your self-confidence, your self-acknowledgement, your self-pride, knowing that what you're doing it very well. It's okay to be proud of yourself. It's okay to encourage yourself. When we ask, what is limiting my expansion? Not stepping into your truth, not acknowledging your own particular truth, not being honest with yourself or the people around you. It's okay to be absolutely clear in your communication, to state what is it you want for yourself, what you expect from others, and then we ride with that expectation. We come to card number 4. Where should I direct my energy? To getting off the starting line. What is it going to take for you to roll? What needs to be in line in order for you to take that first step forward? Card number 5, how can I accelerate my growth? What action have I been avoiding? Getting started again. We're being asked to go things around the way, using the creative aspect of ourselves. We're using our queen energy, but maybe coming at things from an out-of-the-box perspective. Doing things differently than how maybe everyone else is, right? Not every shoe fits the same. And then finally, when it comes down to what potential outcome awaits me if I follow this guidance, right? We're going to jump in with both feet, and we are taking a calculated risk, and we are rolling forward. We are not looking back. We are not, there's no safeguards here to say, well, if this doesn't work out, I can just go work at the Walmart. No, if this is going to work out, because this is going to work out. That's all there is. That's all there is. We're not risking money. We're not risking our home. We don't have our car signed off at the mortgage place. We're doing this from a very safe and sound perspective. It's the summer solstice, right? And we can also take some time to meditate, to sit with this venture and with this idea, and to actually map out a plan. And then that's what gets that belief going in our soul, that this is something that is very important to me. This is something that I really want to do. And when I come at things from a more gentler, well-balanced, well-rounded perspective, things go much better for me. But when I just jump in and throw everything in and say, oh, I'm doing this now, it really doesn't work out too well. Or it's a very difficult venture. All right. So these are the things that we want to keep in mind, and how we can harness the energy of the solstice to help us become the highest version of ourselves and make all of our dreams come true. I have one final card. Today is going to be from the Oracle of the Mermaids. one of my favorite decks. I wanted to finish with our goddess card with this. And I always do a goddess card at the end. And this is really about receiving spiritual support from our inner goddess, right? Our inner goddess is our true self, who we are at a core level. She's like our spiritual spotlight. She's always shining, always ready to guide us exactly where we need to be. And I have a very strong mermaid connection, so I enjoy bringing the mermaid cards out periodically. I have so many different cards, and this is one of my favorite decks. So for our little goddess inspirational message here, all right, I'm just going to draw a card off the top, and we have Beauty. Oh, what a beautiful card. I love the artwork on these cards. She did such a beautiful job. And our message here is grace, loveliness, integrity of form and spirit. So one of the things that we often forget about when we've been struggling with trauma and drama is our outward appearance, right? Our own integrity, our own elegance, our own excellence, right? Taking care of our skin, our body, our hair. It's okay to work at and accentuate our individual inner beauty. And for each of us, that journey will be different. And it's not about plastic surgery or, doing injections of all of that. But it's okay to take time every day to properly maintain our face, to do our hair, to style our hair, to get dressed to the best of our ability. Because when we talk about up-leveling and transforming into the highest version of ourselves, making all of our dreams come true, coming back to the woman that we were created to be, manifesting the luxury lifestyle that we always imagined. How we look and feel is just as important as our accomplishments. And it's okay to set time aside and to invest in those particular things that help us to preserve our face, to preserve our skin, to protect our hair, and to help us to look and feel the best that we possibly can. And this card here is to remind us that beauty is important as well. It's as much inside as it is on the outside. I'd like to thank you very much for joining me for this reading today. I have just a little closing message that I'd like to read with you. I wrote this out earlier. I didn't have the ability to memorize this, but it's just a little message that I'd like to leave you with. The summer solstice reminds us that growth is natural. The flowers do not question whether they deserve to bloom. The trees do not apologize for taking up space. The sun does not ask permission to shine. We were not created to remain hidden inside old fears, old stories, and old limitations. You were created to grow. You were created to evolve, and you were created to shine. May this season inspire you to trust your path, to honor your progress, and take the next courageous step toward life that you have imagined for yourself. The light is already within you. Now is the time to let it shine. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly hope that you found this reading beneficial. Just a little insight. It's a little personal reading for us, right? We've been doing so much deep and heavy transformational work. Sometimes we need to just take a moment for ourselves. Grab our journal, grab a notebook. Let's write down some things that we want to accomplish for ourselves, something that we want to do just for us, right? And it's okay to do that. And now is the time to make that happen. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that you have a wonderful day. And if you have an opportunity, I have yoga classes up on my channel. I have some of my podcasts along with some additional readings, and I invite you to explore and take part into whatever calls to you. I also invite you to please subscribe to my channel. Please like this video. And if there's something else in this realm that you'd like to hear from me, or something that you think I can do better or differently, please put it in the comments. If you're coming at me with heart and honesty, I am very open to hearing your recommendations, and I sincerely believe that. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste, brightest blessings, and I wish you all a very, very beautiful day. Thank you, everyone, and happy summer solstice. I'll see you all in the next video. Have a wonderful day.